This is Michael Popak, Legal AF. This month, October, 13 months from an election, people vote with their pocketbook. People vote with their checkbooks. They have no place else to vote. The election of Joe Biden is 13 months away. So how do people vote? They don't vote by talking to pollsters. They don't vote by approval ratings. They vote by mailing in checks. And by that measure, Joe Biden is wiping up the floor with his Republican counterparts, starting with Donald Trump. Let me repeat, it's a binary process right now. If you support somebody, you can't vote for them and memorialize your vote with an electoral victory. You can write a check or credit card or make a donation. And that, by that measure, Joe Biden is doing just fine. He's got momentum and there's enthusiasm about his campaign, despite what mainstream media and the pollsters have to say. Yeah, I've heard all about the sort of stubborn approval rating, which is stuck at about 40% for Joe Biden, and 35% of the American people don't understand the economy and how it works and think that the economy is not doing well because they only look at gas prices. And they don't look at every other measure of a healthy economy. But having put that aside for a minute, when it comes time to raising money from grassroots donors, not from big fat cats who are making donations, but for people who are making donations at $200 or more, the winner, it's still champion, is Joe Biden. Fortunes have been won and lost by betting against Joe Biden. Just like they bet against Barack Obama. How is this community organizer from Chicago with only been in the Senate for a short amount of time? How is he ever going to be president? And then it was, how is he ever going to be reelected? And then it was Joe Biden. Sure, Joe Biden's been a public servant since he was 29 and elected to the Senate as the youngest senator. And yes, he's the oldest president, but he'll never win. His time is past. His time is past. He should have ran against Hillary and he didn't. And then he won. And now everybody's saying, yeah, he won then, but can he win again? You know how clocks work. He's older. Right. I get that. He's also more experienced, having been the president during war and peace and economic prosperity and all of those other things, investment in our society and culture and infrastructure and chip production and cutting childhood poverty in half, things called a successful track record for a president and a body of work. So now voters have their chance now the only way they can. I know we're all itching to go vote, but voting is not happening now. I love the pollsters who say if the elections were held today, then Donald Trump would win by 2 points. Well, they're not held today. And these popular votes or these votes that are out there about how Joe Biden is going to do in November are totally ridiculous. First of all, they're not done state by state to show the electoral vote. We're an electoral vote. If we learned anything from Jan 6 and the attempt to steal the election, we're an electoral college type of place. We're not a popular vote type of place. And so to hear about the popular vote overall, the poll of polls, the combined polls, is sort of silly. I can't tell you how many people have, quote unquote, come back from the dead and won an election because 13 months earlier they were left for dead by the pollsters. Don't listen to the pollsters. Mark Twain, or maybe Disraeli, the Prime Minister of Britain, once said there are three types of lies, three kinds of lies. There's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. And throw into that category of statistics polling data. Okay, it's irrelevant. All I know is what is in front of me. That is immutable, that is durable, that is true, and that is factual. And by that measure, Joe Biden had a fantastic third quarter of fundraising. He brought in $71 million between him and all of his other fundraising apparatus, $71 million in the third quarter of 2023. It almost matched what he did in the second quarter. And the third quarter is really slow and sluggish because it's summer vacation time. But he still brought in $71 million. Average a donation, $200 or less, 97% of that total number is from grassroots people. And he has had already a total of almost 1 million people making donations to his campaign. To put that in context, because context matters, Donald Trump, even with the felony bump that his campaign likes to talk about. Every time he gets indicted, we raise more money. Okay, you got indicted and there was a mugshot in August. And the most that Donald Trump was able to scratch out was a little bit more than half of Joe Biden, $45.5 million. $45 million. Just to remind ourselves of elemental math, new math or old math, 45 million is less than 71 million. I'm not talking to the viewers on this particular network. I'm just talking out loud to people who like to say that Joe Biden is cooked, he's old, he's senile, and can't handle the job. Really? Watch this guy go. Watch this guy go with 2 wars going on that he is assisting with and doing well with, and a domestic set of issues that have resulted in a booming economy. I'm from a family that loves to cook. In fact, I have a working theory that my wife married me because I know my way around a kitchen and cook with a generous hand. But with any good, healthy cooking comes the really hard part. Clean up in an environmentally friendly way while trying not to waste food. Well, I have solved all those problems thanks to Lomi, and it's changed the way I think about my food waste. Goodbye leaky trash bags running a line of drip liquid down my driveway, and hello Lomi. Lomi transforms my trash into treasure at the push of a button. Lomi is a countertop electric composter that turns food scraps to plant food in 4 hours. There's no food rotting in my garbage and smelling up the kitchen. Now I only take the trash out on garbage day and no more leaky bags. I turn my waste into nutrient-rich Lomi earth that I can feed to my plants, lawn, or garden instead of sending it to the landfill. That lets me help the environment and makes my life easier. All my food scraps, plant clippings, and even those leftovers I forgot in the back of the fridge, they can all go back into my garden, helping me grow more nutritious food at home. And now Lomi's new app lets me track my environmental impact, earn points for every cycle, and redeem for freebies from Lomi and other great brands. I learned that food waste makes up a huge portion of our personal carbon footprint. By reducing the amount of food I send to landfill, I'm helping do my part for the planet. So now I get to eat well and clean up my garbage even better. Whether you want to start making a positive environmental impact or just grow a beautiful garden, Lomi is perfect for you. Head to lomi.com/legalaf and use the promo code legalaf to get $50 off your Lomi. That's $50 off when you head to lomi.com/legalaf and use promo code legalaf at checkout. Thank you, Lomi, for sponsoring this. So $45 million for Donald Trump. He's got $37.5 million in the bank because he's blowing through money like a drunken sailor on leave. So he's burning his money quarterly as fast as he's bringing it in. And that total is combined with Save America PAC and the campaign, $45.5 million. So all the suckers that are donating to Save America PAC for the legal fees and expenses of Donald Trump, that's part of that total. They don't even think they're donating for his presidential campaign. They think they're bailing him out for all of his 7 lawsuits that are pending in over 9 months around the country. And so you've got all that. And that includes, to respond to Stephen Chung, the spokesperson who keeps popping up for Donald Trump all the time like a whack-a-mole. He said of the $45.5 million, $9.4 million came in because of his mugshot, Donald Trump's mugshot. And then a $20 million in August because of all of his criminal problems. So even with all of his criminal problems and all of his mugshots, he still only got to a little bit more than half of what Joe Biden brought in. What does that tell you? It's getting worse for Donald Trump in fundraising, not better. How many indictments do you need, Stephen Chung? Perhaps if he was indicted and arraigned and had 2 mugshots in the month, you would have brought in $40 million. And then you'd still be, by that measure, you'd still be $10 million behind Joe Biden. So I don't think this strategy that the Trump campaign is using of the more indictments, the better, bring it, I don't think it's working. Not based on the money in the bank and the amount that he raised in the actual fundraising quarter. DeSantis, oh God, pardon me, he's giving me a coughing fit based on how little he raised. $15 million, $5 million less than the quarter before. God, if that doesn't say sinking duck, sinking ship, I don't know what does. Nobody likes DeSantis. Nobody wants to dig deep into their pockets. And the result is a terrible $15 million in. It's still better than Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley, everyone's all excited about Nikki Haley. Oh, she took down that whoever on the stage. Oh, she had a quip during the debate that was interesting. Nothing. Oh, she's a small-time former governor from a little state in the South, and she brought in $11 million, and that's $4 million than she did the month before. Right? Maybe she should get indicted and get a mugshot. Maybe her numbers will go up. Tim Scott, everybody's all excited about. South Carolina, Black Republican Tim Scott. He brought in a whole $5.9 million. The only thing he does well is he seems to know how to run a campaign because he hasn't spent all of his money. He still has $13.3 million in the bank, which is the second most cash on hand of any candidate after Donald Trump and the Republican side. Some people might be thinking, where's Mike Pence? Are you like doing this in some reverse alphabetical order? No, I'm doing it in the order of the money they raised. Mike Pence brought in $3 million. Don't adjust your knobs. Don't get your hearing checked. The former vice president of the United States, who should have been the front runner, brought in $3 million, has $1 million in cash to spend on his election. Talk about the voters making a decision in their election donations on who they want and they don't want. And who they don't want is so far Mike Pence, Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, and of course, Donald Trump. Chris Christie's brought in a few $1 million. If you add it all up, it barely surpasses the entire Republican field, what our sitting incumbent president has raised himself in one quarter. I know people think that people don't like Biden, and Biden is too ancient for this role, and there's no other choice for democracy. And the smart money is on Joe Biden. I don't know what the Vegas odds are. I don't know what the London bookmakers are doing about Joe Biden, but it's his race to lose, which means it's our race to lose. We got to support this guy. I don't mean to break out into an ad campaign for Joe Biden, but you got to support this guy. We got a Supreme Court up for grabs. You got a number of aging Supreme Court justices. A couple of them could, not make it through the entire term of the next term of the presidency. You want that to go to Donald Trump? It's already 6-3 MAGA right wing. It's already difficult to get any issue that matters to you socially, politically, morally, to get through this United States Supreme Court. You want to make it worse? You want to make it 7-2, 8-1? How about 9-0? How about 9-0 for the MAGA right wing controlling one branch of the government? That could happen. Won't happen if you vote for Democrats and Joe Biden and continue to contribute money to their campaign and let them win this election. Joe Biden's going to have to do something different than he did during the COVID campaign. He's going to have to get out of his basement, which he will. He's going to have to use his bully pulpit. He's going to have to fly in the big jet, right? The big Air Force One, which is awe-inspiring and lands on a tarmac in different battleground states. And there's nobody who has more celebrity wattage than the sitting president, than Joe Biden. And Joe Biden knows how to use the bully pulpit. He knows how to use the megaphone and get across the policies. And he'll become a better campaigner for himself and for his policies and his successes as time goes on, as we get closer. Right now, he's got no challengers. Forget the Kennedy guy. The more you learn about him, to paraphrase Nikki Haley, the dumber you will become, the dumber you will feel about where he is. There's a reason every Kennedy in his family has renounced his candidacy and taken out a full-page ad to do so. So hang in there. The numbers are good. The economy is recovering. Economists are now split. They don't even think we're in a recession or that we will get in a recession. Gas prices are going to be more of a function of the war and the impact of the Israeli response to Hamas following the tragic, heinous attacks on their soil and on what's happening in Ukraine than anywhere else, than anything else that Joe Biden particularly is doing. Sure, he'll open up the strategic reserves for petroleum. Yes, he'll lean on his relationships in Saudi Arabia and other OPEC oil-producing countries, including in Venezuela, to get them to turn on the spigot. Yes, he'll move us faster away from oil dependency onto electric cars and vehicles, for instance. But a lot of it is out of his hands. It has to do with the market conditions and futures that are bought and sold on the market, and how traders, 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 respond to the volatility in the geopolitical world. It's not his fault. And everybody, I know that the Trumpers like to say, I miss the mean tweets and the cheap gas. Okay. I'm not quite sure what that means. I don't miss any of that. I don't miss the complete soiling of our presidential office by the then occupant, Donald Trump, at his complete breach of decorum and ripping up the social contract and dignity in the way he communicates with the American people. So no, I don't miss the mean tweets. And the gas prices, they're going to be higher or lower during the next Biden administration. Some of it's going to have to do with his economic policy and how people feel about his stewardship of it. But most of it's going to have to do with outside forces. And having just returned from California, where gas was peaking at $7 a gallon, I think most of the country that's in the $3 range should be reasonably happy with it. If you go to Europe, you're going to see gas prices that'll make your eyes pop out of your head and roll down the street. It's just what you got to do if you're going to be the leader of the free world and give moral leadership and protection to the rest of the world in favor of democracy. You might have to pay a couple of more shekels, no pun intended, at the gas pump. That's the good news about Joe Biden and the money raise and what it means for people that are doing the one thing they can do right now that's tangible to affect the outcome of the election, and that's to donate to Joe Biden. I'm going to follow things that sit either at the intersection of law, politics, and justice, or just on the fringe of it, like I'm doing right now for the MeidasTouch Network. And only on this YouTube, exclusively on this YouTube channel, where I do my work and do my hot takes as a practicing lawyer and political analyst for the last 30 plus years. I'm Michael Popak. If you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. Tune into my next hot take. And until my next hot take, this is Michael Popak of Legal AF reporting.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.